I muted myself. Welcome, everybody. It's going to be one of those days. It's a Monday. Case of the Mondays? Yes. Um, I had to stop the song early because this girl is phenomenal and we want as much time as we possibly can to talk with her. So let's just jump right in. My guest today is Sophia Fracassi, and I'm going to jump in with her bio, but I just was introduced to her. I feel embarrassed because it was just this year. I went to Amanda Marshall's tour, which my goodness, that's awesome in itself. And then to my surprise, the opening act was equally as awesome, and it was Sophia. And so I reached out after the show saying, "Girl, like you just blew me away. Let's do this." And she was like, "Yes." So I'm super honored and super thrilled. She is a beautiful recording artist with amazing things in store. I know this, and she's very young still, so keep your eye out. But let's read her official bio, and then we'll bring her on and talk with her. So if you have any comments or questions, please pop them in the chat, and I'll read them online. Or you can just sit and watch and just chill and have your lunch. It's whatever, right? Okay, here is Sophia's official bio. So for Sophia Fracassi doesn't hide from her emotions. This was evident in 2022 with the release of her debut EP Marathon, and is still the case in everything she's done since and has planned. From being named Kiss Radio's One to Watch for February and March of 2023 to joining pop rock icon Amanda Marshall in a cross Canada tour, Fracassi shows no signs of slowing down. Sophia's newest release, Dance with Myself, super rad song, by the way, comes just before her first national tour. So it's come out just before the tour with Amanda. This new song is, according to her, a song about raw, unfiltered joy. Isn't that super cool? I love this. Often we write about sad things, and this is a song about joy. So let's put a pin in that and talk to her about it later. Despite all the plans Fracassi has, you can't also forget how much she's already done. Not only is her EP Marathon a chronicle of her coming of age, but a benchmark for where she is now and where she's headed to from here. It's fascinating. Okay, here we are. Welcome, Sophia. Hey,
Hello,
girl.
everyone.
Hello. Yes. Oh, fabulous. It's an honor to have you on the show. We're
Thank you.
super thrilled.
My
And yeah, thank you. So I gave you a bit of a forewarning in the wings there that we start with the biggest question first because there's so much juiciness in this. Is I'm always fascinated to how people came to be in a career of singing and songwriting, right? A lot of times we can get messages that pick something else or go this way, go that way, and or we get messages from the get go that yeah, go for it. And so I'd
Mhm.
love to start there, your singing journey. When did you find out you could sing? Question 1. And question 2, I hear that you were songwriting at 9 years old. So, can you fill us in a little bit about the backstory?
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, so I been told, of course, I don't have full memory of this, but that I've been singing basically since I came out of the womb. And I have always loved music. My mom used to put headphones on her stomach while she was pregnant for me and play music for me. So I think it kind of was just like innate, built into me to love it. But yeah, I started taking singing lessons when I was around 5 years old. So that's when I started my formal vocal training, and I loved it. So I think I can remember a story that my parents would always joke around and tell people when they asked was singing the theme song to my favorite kids show, which was the Backyardigans. When
Oh,
I was little, that was my favorite show.
nice.
And I sang the theme song in the back seat from my car seat. So I must have been pretty small. And apparently, allegedly, it was perfectly in pitch. So my parents were like, wow, maybe she likes to sing. So yeah, I started when I was 5 years old, classically trained, which we can talk more about,
Yep.
I'm sure.
Yes, we're going to. Definitely. Yep.
Yeah. And then, yeah, started writing music when I was 9 and haven't stopped since. So
Oh
it's
my
been pretty much
gosh.
my whole life.
Oh my gosh. Tell me about the song that you wrote at 9. I'm sure it's precious. What were you writing
Oh,
about at 9?
it was about love and just like I can remember like standing out in my backyard at my childhood home and just like thinking about like basically everything I saw in front of me ended up being incorporated in the lyrics. It was like the trees, the wind, the this, the that, you
Love
know,
it.
um, and then just talking about like the beauty of all of it. So it was like a cute little, just 9-year-old who stood in her backyard and was like, I'm gonna write a song currently, right
Yeah,
now,
right now.
in, in nature. Chop
I
chop.
just love it.
So
I just love it. So you were just drawn to it. It was just organic. You just yeah,
yeah, it's just sort of, I mean,
yeah.
I think I was making up songs from a younger age, but I think that was probably the first song that actually made sense.
Mm,
I
yeah.
can remember, like, standing in front of grandparents and forcing them to listen to, like,
Excellent.
complete nonsense.
Excellent.
Um, so I really worked the crowd from a young.
I could see that. I'm mesmerized because a lot of artists start off kinda shy or some of us start off not shy at all, and it sounds like not shy at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
definitely, obviously, along the way, insecurities pop up.
yeah,
I can
sure.
tell you for sure being on tour was nerve-wracking, my first tour. But yeah, as a kid, I think I just kind of had this like you have sort of I mean, you would hope as a kid, sort of a confidence in yourself that you might not have in adulthood.
Mhm.
That is just sort of like, yeah, I can do this. I'm gonna write a song and sing it. And so I wrote this song when I was 9, and then my music teacher, God bless her, was like, yeah, you can sing it at our recital.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
So we did. It was fun, and that's kind of where that love started, I would say.
Oh, I love that so much. So, what I want to do is follow your career trajectory first, and then we'll hit back on your voice lessons and songwriting process and all that good stuff. So, your record deal. This is something very interesting. I believe I heard or read, and I can't remember because I did so much research on you. PS.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. That you got a record deal during quarantine.
I did.
How did this happen?
It was crazy. So my label is Coalition Music. They're based out of Toronto,
Mhm,
and they're incredible. They're also my management team. So it's all in one company presently, which is great.
mhm.
They're amazing people. And I got connected to one of the founders of Coalition, Rob Laney. Probably, I think I had just turned 16 or something like that, or was almost 16 when I first spoke to him on the phone, and I was like just freaking out internally, like could not believe that I was speaking to this like label head,
Mhm.
kind of um, a legend in Canadian music business. So I was, it was wild. And I spoke to him, and he ended up connecting me before anything kind of became official with the producer that has done pretty much all of my music. So he's kind of been like a day one. Steve Malala is my producer for everything so far. Um, and we started working together and created kind of a couple of like demos to send to the team at Coalition.
Mhm.
Um, and they liked it. I was like, okay. So they liked what I had written. I mean, initially, Rob heard a couple demos that I had like done on my own and like crowdfunded for
Oh,
to
that's cool.
a producer, which was super fun. And that was sent to him without my knowledge
See, that's key, I think.
a
That is
family member.
life working on your behalf, right? That I love
Wild.
that.
So my one of my aunts had kind of like a connection to him through one of his kids,
Mhm.
and without I don't even think she'd met him before, and she didn't tell me, so I was mortified when I found out that she had sent these demos that I'd done by myself to him, and I guess they were okay enough for him
Yeah,
to call me back. So
totally.
so he did, yeah. And then I signed my initial like development contract, so not an official one, just kind of like a trial period
Mhm,
almost.
mhm.
April of 2020. So like just
Wow.
right as everything had happened, I like was just communicating with everyone basically like this, like on
Yeah.
phone calls over Zoom, everything like that. Had no idea what was going to happen at that point. Like, I think
Mhm.
everyone was hoping it was going to be a shorter process than it was,
Yeah.
which of course it definitely took some time to get back to,
Yep.
being able to tour and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So it did kind of feel like, okay, I just did this big thing. but what's gonna happen now?
Right. Hurry
Um,
up and wait.
so yeah, so it was exactly. So I mean, in the meantime, kind of like in between levels of restriction, I was able to get together with my producer and try and do some stuff, and then we get put back in
Mhm.
lockdown. So it was just like kind of this back and forth process, but
Mhm.
ended up being able to release some music. And of course, things thankfully opened back up again. And we were able to get back out there and do the fun stuff that we've done this year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I guess
uh,
that was the benefit of the quarantine is people recorded a lot of music
yeah,
because we couldn't go anywhere, and so we just
exactly.
got really good at our craft and kept pumping out
Yeah.
material. Yeah.
Wrote, recorded, kind of just like decided who it was that I wanted to be. I mean, it's an
Yep.
ever flowing process, but kind
Mhm.
of got to sort of hone in on exactly how I wanted to present myself and who I wanted to be as an
Yeah.
artist, which I'm grateful for that time for sure.
Wow, wow. So, coming out of the quarantine, record deal in hand, it was Amanda Marshall's tour the first big thing that you did? Because that's
Yeah.
incredible.
So, yeah, no, it was crazy. So I I put out my first EP last year,
Yeah.
which was super fun. So in terms of recording and releasing, that was like the big moment. And it was received with so much love. But then there was sort of like a little bit of a pause moving out of the summer into the fall last
Mm.
year. And then ended up, when was it? I guess it would have been maybe April that I of this year that I got the news. Um, about the Amanda Marshall tour, and
Oh,
that
that was quick.
it was
Because when
fast,
it
yeah.
was so quick, and you went on tour pretty quick after the news,
Yeah,
right?
so it was
Because
like I found out the Friday before it got announced that I was joining the tour. So it was like "Okay, you're on the tour. Okay, we're announcing it. Okay, you're going." So it was like a boom, boom, boom process, but it was so, like, I mean, I'm glad that I didn't have already, like, the month of
yeah.
May was enough time for me to psych myself out about it, so I'm glad I didn't have more time.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head because voice, it's all of us, and yes, we do psych ourselves out sometimes. So, I imagine here's where I wanna go with this. Being an opening act for someone is a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
right? You're showing up and ultimately it's someone else's audience. There's probably some fans of yours there. So, talk to us a little bit about the pressures and how you worked through them about the opening act being the opening act for something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
totally.
yeah. Yeah.
So obviously, not only, are you the opening act, but, you know, Amanda has such a powerhouse vocal, like, it is crazy.
Mhm.
Um, and all of her fans are like die-hard fans. Like, they're like,
Yeah.
"We love this woman," which is amazing.
Yep.
But because of that, I had no idea how people were gonna receive me, who I
Mhm.
was a solo performer. I didn't have a band. It was just me and my keyboard. So I was like, I don't know, maybe they're gonna hate it and be bored and walk out. I didn't know what to expect in terms of how many people would already be there for the opening time, because I know,
Mhm.
depending on the type of venue, type of audience, a lot of people don't show up for the opener, which I don't blame them. It's
Right.
totally fair. So I had no idea what to expect at all. So it's definitely very nerve wracking. But I ended up, kind of two ways that I sort of prepared was to have a tour specific like vocal coaching. And I also worked with a performance coach as well. And I would say those two things for me as a person that is like totally running on like anxiety at all times, about everything, working with them gave me such a sense of like security and preparedness that I think if I just tried to like wing it on my own,
Yeah.
would not have felt the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you for I get from you that you may just be an old soul because you have this self-reflection that I'm like, "Where the hell was that when I was
Oh,
19?"
well,
I
thank
don't know.
you. It can be to fault at times. Maybe
Yeah.
too reflective. but
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
but but no, thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate that.
Oh, I wanna know all about the, tour-specific vocal coaching, et cetera, but I wonder if this played into a factor into you getting through your anxieties. Were you not handpicked by Amanda to be on the tour? So she saw
Well,
something in you and was
um,
like, "Yes?"
I
How did
was
that work?
in a way, yeah. So I was still
Uh,
pitched. I'm not entirely sure if there was a large pool.
Okay.
that she was choosing from. I don't think that there were many other artists
Mm,
from what I've heard. And
mhm.
I know that she did put a lot of faith in me, considering it was a quick decision. So I don't think that she in her mind. I mean, I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
I don't think that she, took a large amount of time trying to choose between a bunch of different people. I think she kind of believed in me right away, which was really amazing.
Wow.
Um,
Yes.
from what I can tell, and from when I first met her. So I kind of I was pitched for her sort of the week before. My manager called me. I was working my part-time job at an events venue.
Mhm.
And I got the call from my manager, and he was like, "Okay, we're thinking of doing this. Is this something you're interested in? Here are the dates. It's for Amanda Marshall." And I was like, "Yes, pitch me
Yeah.
for it right away, please." Obviously, like, there was nerves that came along with it, and I felt like ill for the rest of the day because I was like, "I can't believe this is a possibility." And then, yeah, pretty quickly, it was, I think, less than a week when my manager called back, and he was like, "Are you available to meet with her tomorrow?" I think it was like literally the next day, and I was like,
Wow.
"Okay, no problem."
Wow.
I think she just wanted to, like, actually say hi, make sure I wasn't, probably, I mean, I would want to do the same thing with an
Yeah.
opener, and make sure I wasn't, a brat or something.
Yeah,
So,
there you go.
yeah, we met up and we talked, and Amanda's managed by the same company as me. So
Ah,
that was a connection there, and I'm sure they put in a good word for me. I hope. But yeah, so I got to sit with her and talk with her, and sort of
excuse me. Yeah.
advice surrounding touring. Kind of asked me sort of, is are would you feel, mentally prepared to do something like this? And I was like, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm gonna go home and freak out about it, but
Yeah.
face, no problem. We're good. So yeah, it was amazing. And then literally I talked to her for about half an hour. I left the room. I went to talk to my manager and, like, freak out and wave my hands in my face and whatever. And then I came back out, and Amanda's manager said to me, "Well, pack your bags." And I was like so caught off guard that I had the worst reaction, because instead of being like, "Oh my gosh," I was like, "What?" Like, pardon? So I thought he was joking. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and he was like, "No, you're good. You got you got the job. You're gonna go
I
on tour."
love that.
Like, oh my goodness. So yeah, it was amazing,
Oh,
and a fast process. So it was literally
yeah.
on Friday. I went in, I spoke to her. They said, "Yes, you got it." And then they were like, "We're announcing it on Monday, so get ready."
Oh my god, girl. And you lest we forget, it's you and a piano, and that's it.
That was it.
So,
Yes.
was that comfortable for you? Was that like, home for you, or did
It
you miss
was,
having a band?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I enjoy performing with the band, but I've always performed with me and a piano. Like, that
Yeah,
was, before I
yeah,
started doing any kind of full band situation. Like, it was always me and a keyboard. That's always what I did,
yeah.
for any gig. So that was, yeah, exactly, like, home for me. It felt comfortable. In
Mhm.
a way, it's sometimes easier, in just that short amount of time, and because I don't already have a band that I consistently perform with. It would have been
Mhm.
a really short amount of time to kind of, like, pick the right people for something like that. So being able to just kind of not have to worry about anyone else and just do
Yeah,
my thing was actually nice.
yeah.
I love performing with other people, don't get me wrong, but it was nice to be like, well, if I screw up, it's my fault.
Right, if you
I
skip
have no
the
one
bridge,
else.
it doesn't matter. You
Yeah,
just skip the bridge.
it's just me. It's gonna be obvious and whatever. And thankfully, nothing
Aw.
terrible happened.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
That was great.
So, I love how forthcoming you are about anxieties, and I think a lot of artists have anxieties and not a lot of us are speaking about it. That's changing, but I think it's really important to, bring a voice to that, and so mental preparedness and talking to Amanda, did she share any words of encouragement or advice for you that you would love other opening acts and other just recording artists to know?
Yeah, honestly, I one of my favorite things about her was she was so prepared for everything. Like, you knew she wasn't just, like, winging it. but her attitude about it was like, yeah, let's go out and let's do a show. Like it was, there was, you
Yep.
knew she had her stuff ready to go, but there was
Yep.
not a lot of fear surrounding it, at least from what I could tell.
Mhm.
And that was very inspiring to just be like, she had a lot of confidence in her own ability, which rightfully so, because she's a
Mhm.
phenomenal vocalist.
Mhm.
And the opening night of tour, she sent out, she was getting ready in her room, and I was about to go on stage, and she sent out a note that just said, "Stay loose and have fun." And I was like, "That's the best!" Like, and it was
Excellent.
like so her, like just like blunt,
Excellent.
straight to the point. Like that's all you need to do. And I was like, "Okay, I can do that. I can do that, Amanda."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it was great. And I did. I had
Yeah.
to repeat that to myself quite a few times. Like, it's
Stay loose and have
okay
fun.
to just be present in the moment and have fun. Because
Well,
that
and you did that. You
I feel
totally did
like
that.
I got to the point where
Yep.
I really did. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely the first, like, 2, 3 shows were nerve-wracking, um,
Mhm.
but no, it was like, once it kinda clicked, it was like, "This is the best," and it's, like,
Yeah.
such an incredible rush of emotions, and it feels so
Yeah.
good to be able to connect with people in that way, like, face to face.
Yeah.
You're right there, I'm right here, we're in this moment together is really nice.
Mhm. Mhm. And isn't that the truth? We have thoughts on both sides, the angel and the devil, if you will.
Totally,
One's like, "Oh my god, you're gonna faint on stage," and the other one's like, "This is gonna be awesome."
yes,
And
totally.
you have
Yes.
to choose what you pay attention
Exactly.
to. Yeah.
Which thoughts are you going to listen to for
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
Yeah. So your performance coaching and vocal specific
Yeah.
tour specific vocal coaching. I'm so into that stuff. What are some things that you learned through that experience that you can share
Oh,
with our audience?
I would love to share.
I bet you
So
there's lots. I do. I bet there's
my
lots.
vocal coach, we didn't get to work together in person because she was, like, across the country, but I
Cool.
did a couple just, like, Zoom sessions with her, and the thing that I loved the most, I mean, she gave me incredible warm-ups to do, like, essentially created an entire routine for me leading up to tour and then while I was on tour, um,
Wow.
which was like amazing. But one of my favorite things about her style of coaching, because I was classically trained for
Mhm.
over 10 years.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, I mean, it's an incredible, and I mean, if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer too. But it's an
Yes.
incredible way of learning to sing. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful world, but it's so different from
Mhm.
getting out there and just singing your own music that you wrote.
Yeah.
There's so much technique involved. And because I did so many years of that, it was kind of ingrained in my brain that I had that perfection was the goal
I
always.
know. That's
Um,
real. That's
always.
real.
Bottom line is perfection. And so I kind of had gotten used to getting on stage and like panicking and being like, I have to be perfect. And then not having fun anymore.
Yeah.
Which was never, I don't think that was ever anyone's, like, any adjudicator or teacher that I had in the past. That was never like their goal for me to feel that way, but that's just how I ended up taking it on myself.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so going through this coaching with this lovely lady, she was so reassuring, like, just like, her biggest thing was like, yes, it's good to be prepared, but the number one thing you want to do is connect. And so she advised me to sort of have, like, either a word for the tour or to kind of like come up with a main point focus every night to just
Mm.
kind of like ruminate on in a good way, before getting on stage. And I mean, my goal through my music 24/7 is I want to reach people and connect with people and hope that the song touches a specific part of their life. It's something they need to
Mhm.
hear. So for
Mhm.
me, I'm like, this is an opportunity to do this live and in person with people. Like, this is not just someone listening to the song on their headphones on Spotify. This is happening right now, which is different. It just is. Um,
Mhm.
and so I could feel the heart start to race, and I would just have to remind myself over and over again, like, this is about connection with these people. It is not
I
perfection,
love that.
it's connection. So it was so important, so important. And like, genuinely, I have not been the same kind of performer since then. Like it was just completely life changing to do something like that and then to put it into practice for however long, a whole month. Uh,
Mhm.
Amazing. Yeah, loved it.
I love your word, the connection. I think that's so brilliant
Oh, thank
because you're right. Vocal coaching and training, it becomes a black and white kind
you.
of process where there's right versus wrong sometimes, right? And so I can appreciate you taking on perfectionism from that because I did the same thing. I think it's just my question here is how did because it's hard for a lot of classically trained singers to cross over to pop,
Yes.
and you've kind of mentioned that a little bit. Was it this coach that helped you finesse that sound you were looking for, or did you find that on your own?
I think a lot of it I found by myself. I only
Mhm.
got to work with this coach. I mean, she's amazing. For just like the month leading up to
Got
tour. So
it.
it was a very recent thing. It was just this year.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think it was always in me
Mhm.
to want to write my own music and to sing I don't know how you like a more contemporary style.
Yep.
If you're gonna categorize it, I'll say it like
Yep.
that.
Mhm.
And I think it was always there, and then I would consistently sort of combat the two of them because there was this side of me that was like, I want to just have like a freedom in singing, and I want to sing my own music in the way that it just kind of naturally wants to come out. But then there's this other side of me that was had been so technically trained for so many years that
Mhm.
it was more of like an inner battle. But I had sung um lots of whatever pop music in quotations, lots of musical theater, lots of
Yeah.
all of that stuff. So in terms of like the actual register, like belt register, all that kind of stuff, um,
Mhm.
I had been very consistent with that for my whole life. So it wasn't necessarily like a tone thing that was difficult to switch. It was the
Mhm.
mindset that was hard to kind of let myself be.
Yes.
To know that I could still have excellence without perfectionism, if that makes sense. Like you can still be good
100%.
even when you're not freaking out about how you
Mm.
sound the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, I feel like in contemporary music, for using classical versus contemporary as 2 categories, I feel like the imperfections are endearing. I feel like people want to hear, like, the Alanis yodels and
Yeah.
the Jewel, like, what she calls the Kermit the Frog voice. I
Right.
friggin' love it. I love it. It
No,
wasn't what she wanted to do. It came
yeah,
out, and she's like, "I don't know what this is," but it
totally.
works,
Yeah.
right?
And I think part of it was I grew up performing to audiences that were there to judge you versus to
Mhm.
enjoy your music.
Right.
So it was definitely ingrained in me that everyone in that audience is sitting there waiting for you to mess up,
Mm.
versus everyone is sitting there present with you, enjoying what you're bringing to them. So I definitely there was a mental switch, and also just getting to experience that on this tour
Yeah.
was wonderful to get to be like, oh, you're not all sitting here expecting me to do something wrong
Right. Right.
or wondering if I'm going to do something wrong. Um,
Right.
and if I do, you actually don't care because you enjoyed other aspects.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Amazing.
it was wild. It was very helpful though. I just had to like push past that barrier and do it. And yeah, I feel totally different since doing that.
I'm loving that this coach was so 360 a voice that mindset was front and center, right? Like that mantra was front and center. I think
Yeah.
the older I get and the more I sing, the more I understand that what we think about means more than any of the warm-ups. If we're thinking a thought underneath all the warm-ups, that's what we're gonna get. So
Yes.
if it's
100.
like, this isn't gonna work, I suck,
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
we need to be like, hey, this is fun. I'm gonna explore my voice and see what
Yeah.
happens. Even
100%.
that,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly those thoughts. That's
Um,
so good. Yeah. No, I
yeah,
definitely, I used to, when I was still competing vocally, I would tell myself I was gonna mess up, and I would mess up. Like
yep,
it was like a
yeah,
total panic, mind power, like just your brain is crazy. Um, and I really don't think that I fully got over that until, yeah, until recently this year.
Oh, I'm so excited for you because I could see it that you were present, and so I like the what's to come for you. I'm very, very, very excited for you
Well,
because I
thank
think
you so much. I
think
appreciate
that's the big one. That's a big one. That's the star quality that people I mean, we watch a lot of singers on American Idol and The Voice and all this kind of stuff, and they're technically perfect, but they're just not doing it for us, and we go,
right.
"Why not? Why not? They're awesome. Why isn't it not like"
Right.
and I think it comes down to the connection piece and the mindset piece. Like,
Well, I
what are you trying to do? Are you trying to impress us or are you trying to connect? Because
yeah.
if you're just trying to connect, you will impress us. Like, that's a
Yeah.
given,
Yes.
right?
There's a difference.
Yeah,
That's so good. Yeah, I love that.
excellent. So your performance coach then, similar advice, different advice?
Yeah,
What can you
I
share with us
mean,
about that?
he was again, I just lucked out like so hardcore with the people that I got to work with leading up to
Mhm,
this. And he a big honestly, a lot of it had to do with similar aspects of it because I I think I would freeze up again out of wanting to have everything perfect. The
mhm,
opposite would come because I was just so worried the entire time I'm standing there singing,
mhm.
which is not a very enjoyable performance. And so, and even just like, uh, you get nerves, you don't know what to say. I'm a pretty chatty person, if you can't tell.
I love this.
But on stage, in terms of like stage banter, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
I definitely I could wing it, but it wasn't going to be that great. So
Mm.
his thing was like, be polished, rehearse your banter, rehearse your little special moments that you're going to do for specific songs, like go over that over and over and over again so that by the time you get there you don't have to think about it as second nature, which is like sounds like duh, but for a little bit of like a creative brained crazy person like myself, I was like, practice, okay, drill it,
Oh,
no problem.
that's familiar. Yeah.
So yeah, running over stuff. But honestly, a huge thing with him that was so helpful, um, was I had it in my head that I should barely talk, that I should just run through the songs, that nobody wanted to hear what I had to say about anything. Because
Oh,
I'm just opener. Who cares about my stories? Whatever.
interesting.
And he's the one that said to me, he was like, "Why do you think people don't care about what you have to say?" It's like you're severely underestimating, your own story,
Mhm.
your own creativity behind your music. And it was literally like the softest slap to the face of like, that's so true. Like I had to
Right.
like, I don't actually know why I think that. Like he was like, "Why do you think?" I was like, I don't know. I just feel like
Yeah.
no, it was like I totally felt like nobody cared. To just get through it. Nobody's gonna care. And I mean, most people, yeah, they were there to see the headliner. Of course. That's
Yeah.
what they're there for. That's what they paid for. Absolutely. But I did think like I just have to breeze through this and get it over with, which is like
Mm,
the vibe at all. That's not gonna
no.
Nobody's gonna enjoy that. So having him say to me, like, people care about what you have to say was like it just like reached down and like touched some part of myself deep within, like inner child. I don't know what it was. Where I was like, that is so what I needed to hear. And to hear that from the person that is like coaching me, who's been in the music industry for so long, like used to work for Warner, like all this stuff, who like knows music and was able to
Mhm.
tell me like people care about what you have to say and you should actually talk more than you think you should. And I was like, oh,
Mm.
okay. He was like, it's just you and a keyboard. Like, tell some stories. Why not? People are gonna love that. And I was like, they'll love it. Okay, sure. So
Amazing.
yeah, it was wild. Honestly, both of them were just incredible help. It was so beneficial.
Oh, wow. I love that the advice was, people care what you have to say because
Yeah,
oftentimes we can segregate the singing voice and the speaking voice and go, "Well, if I'm there to sing, I should not talk. And then,
Totally.
you know, if I'm there to talk, well, I
Yeah,
won't be singing.
yeah, totally.
And it's like one voice, one instrument. So, and it's funny once you can share the good beliefs that you have between the two, like life gets sweeter, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. And I
Yeah.
also, like, I think I was sort of separating myself from any other artists that I had seen or known because
Hmm.
going to a show, I always love when an artist talks about because I'm a songwriter, so I love hearing the story behind the song. Like that's so important to me. Um, and so but I think I had put myself aside, like, well, they're good, they're better, they get to
Ah,
do that. I don't get to
mhm.
do that. Because I don't matter. Which is such a depressing thought. But
No.
genuinely, he was like, it's no, no, like you go on there. And he was like, obviously you can get a read on maybe you did blab for too long. That's fine. Whatever. Shorten your story
Mhm,
a little bit. He was like, but people do care about the stories behind your songs. And
mhm.
it was I had no faith in myself, like no belief in myself that that would be a reality. So getting out there and having the response that I did from people
Mhm.
was mind blowing. Like to have people say, come up to me and talk to me afterwards and say the things that they did or cry or tell me like this just happened in my life and this song was exactly what I needed to hear. Like and get to do that face to face was
Yeah.
incredible. And I wouldn't have
Mhm.
had the confidence to do what I did if it wasn't for the preparation that I got to have with these people.
Well, and you're so intuitive again, is to know that you need to reach out for those
Totally.
professionals, right? Like, not
Yeah.
everybody has that intuition to be like, "Hmm, maybe I should get some advice on this
Yeah.
huge thing I'm about to
Totally.
do."
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, I have a great management team, like, behind me as well who encouraged me to do something like that. They're like, "That's it's okay to ask for help,
Yeah.
for things. Even when it's, like,
Mhm.
supposed to be your thing, you can always improve, you can always ask for assistance." And I'm so glad that I did because it made a world of difference.
Oh, that's so encouraging, and I applaud you for being so open and authentic, and transparent about your conversation behind the scenes saying, "I don't matter," and bringing that to the foreground 'cause I think a lot of us,
Yeah.
artists, non-artists,
Oh,
whatever, I
totally.
think a lot of us have this,
Yeah,
right? It's
100%.
there, and it's underneath everything we say and do and sing. So,
Always. Yeah.
yeah, so it's important to just out it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it. I want to talk about your songwriting, process and the recording process, but first, I feel like we need to nerd out a little bit about your tour, like, workouts and warm-ups that you got ready with, and then how it was different from your on-tour warm-up, or if
Right.
it was. Because this is a thing a lot of people don't understand is, like, yeah, you have to get ready to be able to sing over and over. If you come from a place where you haven't been singing very on the regular, you gotta get ready, gotta
Yeah,
train
it
to
is.
be ready.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Share with
muscle,
us.
just like
Yep,
every other muscle in your body.
yep.
Yeah, so for tour, I did have a schedule leading up to it. It was very similar to what I did on tour. It was just a little bit more intense, like in terms of kind of like almost like a boot camp versus when you are already singing every single day. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit quicker to get it done backstage and everything like that. But kind of the types of stuff that we had incorporated in both were I have this right here. This was
Yeah,
a
you do.
large element because we did a lot of straw warm-ups, a lot of like
Excellent.
straw work, if you will,
Yep.
and it was so helpful. I mean, I'd done some of it before in my other training, but I hadn't done it consistently enough to recognize how actually beneficial it was for me personally. Um,
Mhm.
really, yeah, like half of the warm ups involved the straw, but a lot of the things that she showed me were like things that I would never have thought to do on my own, like kind of weird. Like, we're gonna, like, first of all, we would do full, like, face neck massage before even
Mhm.
beginning to sing,
Nice.
which is so
Nice.
great. Like, first of all, it feels great. Second of all,
Feels
so
so good.
helpful
Yeah.
because again, it is all a muscle. So, the jaw, the neck, everything.
Yeah.
And then would actually do vocal warm up. So, did a lot of straw stuff. We would do a lot of, I'm trying to think of some of the other fun ones that we would do, like puffing your cheeks out and singing with your mouth closed while like the air is kind of in there, which is
Mhm.
so like again like random things that I again had never thought to do, or like
Yeah.
grab a towel, take your tongue out of your mouth and twist it, like stretch all of that out, and or pull your tongue out, sing, like all of that kind of stuff, just like relieving
Yeah.
tension, um
Mhm.
and warming up in a way that felt so relaxing and easy. And my favorite thing was that she actually recorded voice note warm-ups for me, basically
Mm.
that I would just put my headphones in backstage, and I would be like, "Oh, CQ's right next to me," because she'd talk me through it the whole time. So every time I'd be like freaking out, and then I'd put on my warm up with her, and she'd be like, "You've got this.
Oh,
You're
cute. Oh, cute.
gonna be amazing," and then would go through the warm up with me. Remember to remember connection, not perfection, like all that kind of stuff. Was
Oh,
amazing.
great.
It was like having like a little like a vocal coach, and then also like just like a pep talk before every show, which was amazing. And then yeah, we did a lot of like breath work and stuff too, just for
Yeah.
nerves. Like whatever, hold your breath for 4 seconds. Okay, now hold it for six. Now hold it for eight. Hold it for 10. Like that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Just deep breathing, kind of tricking your body into thinking it's calmer than it actually is.
Mhm.
The big one. So I would always be like right as I was side stage, like the last 2 minutes before I would go on. Um,
Mhm.
that's what I would be doing. I would be like standing there with my hands on my hand on my chest, my hand on my stomach, just doing deep breathing. And the tour manager would be looking at me like, "Is she okay? Is she having?" I'm like, "No, it's good. It's good.
It's normal in our world. It's fine.
Trust me. You should try it."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was all of that was amazing. It was so helpful.
Awesome. So to get ready for that month beforehand, was it singing every day? Was it singing 5 days a week for X number of minutes? How did that look for you? And
Yeah.
then when
So
you're on stage as well, on tour as well?
no, totally. So I would say off like preparing for tour was, I would say, about 30 minutes a day. I think it was around, I'm trying to think if it was 5 or
Yeah.
6 days a week. But it was pretty gentle. So it was kind of more
Yeah.
like, when you like low weight, high repetition kind of thing, where you're
Mhm.
like, it's really wonderful, nice. You're not like pushing yourself at all. I mean, you
Yeah.
never should, but like it wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah.
And then almost every single day of the week. And then I would usually run my set just once through, I would say around 4 to 5 times a week leading up to it. I would run my set. But
Mhm.
for the month leading up to tour, it was really, I would say only the last, it wasn't a full month. It was more like 3 weeks that
Oh my
everything
gosh.
that I was doing all of that. So yeah, it
Yeah.
was crazy.
Fast.
Super fast. Again, I'm glad I didn't have more time to freak out about it.
Mhm.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, I work well under pressure. I'm a bit of a procrastinator, so I
Atta girl.
mind it. I didn't mind it. It worked out
Yeah.
fine. But no, it was a bit of a mad dash to get everything
Yeah.
done. Yeah, I like got sick in there too, like
Oh,
leading
of
up to
course.
a cold, and I was like had to cancel sessions. Anyways, full panic mode, but it worked out fine.
It totally worked out fine, right? Oh, I love your attitude. I love your attitude the most, I think. So on tour, is there any self-care rituals that you took on? Like, were you aware of diet or exercise or mindfulness, or what does that look like for you?
No,
And did you run into any issues on tour?
okay, this is great.
This is a big
So
one.
yeah, leading up to it, while I was on tour, obviously, I stayed as healthy as possible. I mean, there's less options just because most food is either being catered or you have to like get something out. So I
Mhm.
could never cook for myself. So I kind of dedicated most of that diet time to the month before. So I kind of did just like a I guess sort of cleanse elimination. And it was just mostly like for my immune system, because what I was most scared of was getting sick on tour, like getting a cold.
Yes. Yes.
And then not only do you have the stress of your own performance, but then you're on a tour bus with other people and you're like, I do not, the last thing you want to do is get anyone else sick. So I was just like, okay,
Mhm.
cover all the bases. So I just tried to really like boost my immune system, taking all the vitamins, minerals, all of that good stuff, trying to have that physical preparedness. Um and then obviously, yeah, on tour, I think a big thing for me was just still trying to get good sleep,
Mhm.
which is hard, like, when you're moving around a lot. I personally didn't have an issue sleeping on a tour bus. I found it very relaxing, which was great. But yeah, just, like, having that kind of, you know, mental restriction for yourself, like, I know it's fun to stay up and talk with everyone and hang out, but you do have a job to do, and I
Mm,
luckily was on a bus with a lot of very dedicated people, crew
mhm.
members. So it was like everyone kind of had the same mentality of like, okay, we're gonna hang out for a bit, but then we are all going to go to bed because we do have to wake up the
Nice.
next morning and do it all over again.
It is a job. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, it's
job
totally a job. So there
for
was,
sure.
for me, it was just, yeah, having the self-awareness to say, okay, it's time for bed. And also I'm not gonna shove my face with candy right now. And then I just did, like, honestly, a lot of walking
Oh,
around
cool.
to kind of just like keep keep the heart rate up, stay
Mhm.
active in some way, because not every most places we went didn't have like a gym, stuff like that. So I just did a lot of
Yeah.
walking and still a lot of sitting. It's
Yeah.
really sit around a lot as the opener, waiting for your sound check. But yeah,
Yeah.
just tried to explore where I could, and no, I feel like it was a good balance while I
Yeah.
was there, and then leading up to it was a little more intense, but it was good as well.
Yeah. Again, I love your headspace because we can get too perfectionist, too precious with this about our instrument. Oh my gosh. And then the stress just kills everything that we've done,
Oh,
all the
it's
good,
like
right?
my number one thing was like, you cannot, if you are like anxiety
Yeah.
ridden for this entire thing, you're gonna wreck the whole experience for yourself. So
Okay.
for me, it was
Yeah.
just like, it's okay. Like I just had to tell
Yep.
myself, like, this is okay. Like just enjoy it. This is the
Mhm.
experience of a lifetime. Like it's my
Mhm.
first tour, and the fact that I got to be like on a tour bus, like fully everything was taken care of, is not
Mhm.
always the case for first tours. So I felt just like
Mhm.
really blessed that that got to be like my initial experience. It was so
Oh
nice.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I I just appreciate you because I have so many nerdy questions for you, but one of them before we get to the recording and songwriting is you got to sing with Amanda because she brought you on stage during her show, and
It did.
I can't imagine the nerves, but also the equal excitement that might have been there. So talk to me about that and how you worked through to be a super diva, because you were, on
Well,
stage with Amanda Marshall.
thank you. Oh my goodness. Well, it was interesting. So, funny story. The first time we did it, it was a surprise to me.
Oh god. Oh,
Nobody knew
no.
it was happening. So I got off stage. I think this was maybe, I'm trying to think. I think I probably sang with her for 4 or 5 shows, like the last shows on the tour. We didn't do it every night.
Okay.
So I got off stage, and normally after my set, I would either go watch Amanda's set for a little bit and then go back and get changed and everything. Or sometimes if I was really tired, I would go backstage, shower and everything, and get in my sweatpants. Honestly, that was not a
Yeah.
party animal, so that was my
Yeah.
vibe. Um, and this particular night, I went backstage, and the tour manager stopped me and was like, "Don't get changed." And I was like, "Okay," because she knew me at this point. She was like, "I know you're gonna go back there and put your pajamas on. Don't do it." So she was like, "Don't get changed. Everyone wants to take a picture on stage tonight at the end of Amanda's set." And I was like, "Okay, no problem." And I mean, I trusted her
Yeah.
at that point. I wasn't really suspicious yet. I was like, "Okay, we're taking a picture. No problem."
Yeah.
Um, and it wasn't until like they brought me side stage, and she was like, "Do you want your in ears? Do you want to listen to the show?" And I was like, because I
What?
can't
Come
hear
on.
very well from side stage. So I was like, okay.
What's
Still
going
not
on?
like, that's when I started to panic. That's when the heart started to be like, is this something that's happening right now? So yeah, totally freaked out. But I still wasn't sure what was going on until Amanda came back before her encore. Um,
Mhm.
and was like, "Do you know?" So funny. She was like, "Do you know the words to I Believe?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, like, what if what if I hadn't? That would have been so
Could you
awful,
imagine?
terrible. But no, I did, of course. So I listened.
Of course, who doesn't? Come on.
Yeah. So I was like, "Yes." no problem.
Yeah.
Why are you asking me this? She was like, okay, I'm gonna bring you out and we're gonna sing it together. And I was like,
Excellent.
okay.
Excellent.
So the first night, yeah, I had no idea. And then afterwards, I would usually find out whether or not we were gonna do it, you know, in the evening at some point.
Mhm.
But she
Mhm.
always, she's so funny. She would always leave one part of it a surprise. And that part of it was unfortunately which part of the song I was gonna sing. So every night I had to be like, okay, you know the choruses, you know the verses, you know like you're good, you've got this. If she asks you to sing this part last minute, you can sing it. So because I she loves surprises, like that's like her thing. So she just thought it was so fun every night. Of course, I'm
Oh
panicking,
my god. Stay
right?
loose.
Yeah, to just kind of leave it up to the last second. So then but I did end up getting to sing different parts of the songs for
Cool.
shows, which was super fun.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, no, it was amazing, and it was just super fun to like look out at the crowd and everyone's dancing, and it was just like
Yeah.
it was a great time and
It's
fun
a
to
good
sing with
moment.
the whole band. I mean, they were
Oh
phenomenal.
my gosh. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Well, it was awesome, and in that moment, I was like, "Damn, girl, I feel you. I know that's probably really scary, but it's really fun."
Freaking out, and I would be freaking out the whole time I was on there, like, "What are we doing next? Are we gonna change something last second? What's happening?" But no, it was super fun.
I find it interesting in this line of work that you meet the spontaneous creatives and then you meet the planned creatives, and I'm one of the planned people, so I get you. I feel you on this.
No, I'm pretty I mean, like, I would like to think that I'm a spontaneous person, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I like to
No.
have my
Yeah.
things in order, so that
Yeah. Yeah.
was not within my comfort zone, but that's okay.
Apparently, these experiences make us grow.
Yeah,
Yay!
true.
Right?
Yay,
So
growth.
fun. Yay! It's good for us. I know you're a big Taylor Swift fan, and I imagine Amanda Marshall was in that list of influences too.
For
T
sure.
Let's chat, like, for 1 minute about your influences, and then the rest of the time, we're gonna talk about your music, what's next for you, and your songwriting process. So, influences, top 3, 5, what could you share? Taylor
Okay,
Swift is there, and then
well,
that.
I will yeah, if I can I would say I don't know if this is necessarily in order because I think
Mhm.
I pull kind of aspects from everyone that I love and admire. I always say, like, Carole King, Joni Mitchell in terms of
Nice.
just, like, people
Mhm.
that females, women, amazing women that wrote and kind of trailblazed in the songwriting community for other female singer-songwriters.
Mhm.
Which was which is great. And then obviously Taylor Swift is kind of like the more modern version of that. I think, I mean,
Yeah.
she's top of the like you can't in my
Yeah.
mind, it's Taylor Swift. You can't
Yeah,
beat.
of course. Of course.
Incredible songwriting, incredible performance,
Mhm.
business savvy lady. Like her
Yeah.
marketing is it's amazing. I think it's great. And then in terms of just like other people that I just like love and admire their music, Maggie Rogers. I listen
Mm.
to a lot of Maggie. I think she's amazing. I love just sort of the intention that she puts behind a lot of
Mhm.
her songs and her music. Okay, that was four.
That's great.
Good. I'm like I
That
could
works.
go on, but I feel like that's
I
the
know you could. I know you could. And it's interesting. I can when you said Joni Mitchell, I'm like, "Ah, yes, okay." Because you've got some beautiful melodic jumps and things, and it just really reminded me of Joni. So
that is
that's
so
very cool.
ultimate
But
compliment.
at the well, you deserve it. And I also see that you put your own spin on it. So it's not a Joni copycat. It's a
Yeah, yeah.
reinvented original with the
Thank
influence.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
so
much.
well done. Your music is beautiful, it's catchy, it's honest, and it's vulnerable, and, was that something you had to work at, or did it just come naturally to be so let's look at the lyrics, vulnerable with your stories and just out there and
I
transparent?
yeah, I think I've always been like I've always written. So ever since I was a kid, like I would write like poems. I even like when I was younger, like 14, I had like a blog
Oh,
for
you
like
did? Woo.
family and friends, like people that read it, and I would just kind of like put my thoughts about stuff. And people liked it, like oddly enough, even though I was, a wee lass. But um it was always very much what I was feeling and thinking in the moment was what I wrote
Mhm.
about. So I think that's just always been the way that I've written. I have a hard time writing. I mean, I love writing and I love writing for other
Mhm.
people too. Like I think all aspects are fun. But for
Mhm.
myself, for my own music, I don't usually love a song for me if it doesn't feel like it is very vulnerable and honest. And not that doesn't necessarily mean that it's dark and depressing, because it can be, like one of my newer songs, "Dance with Myself," is
Exactly.
about joy. It's about feeling free to be exactly who you are. And so for me, yeah, I think the honesty is just kind of like a prerequisite for everything that I do. It doesn't feel right to me unless that's where it's come from.
Mhm. I love that you said that, joy can be vulnerable and, it is, like, you could be really
Yeah,
honest, and it doesn't have to be deep, dark, and depressing
yeah,
to put your heart out there, and I feel like it's almost a little bit trickier with happy songs to put your heart out there because we expect the dark and the depressing from artists, but,
yeah.
so I love the latest song. It's beautiful, and,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
on that note, what's next from you? Because we have, like, 2 minutes. I can't believe how fast it went.
No, it's
Like,
gone by.
2
I'm
minutes.
gonna speed through this. So this is fun little surprise. So I actually
Excellent.
just Dance with Myself is not my newest release, and I
Oh!
just it's brand new. Just this
Okay.
Friday, put out a new single. It's
Nice
called
that.
not Dance with Myself. Wow, it's called not that because that's not the right song.
Not that.
Called Dress Shirt. So it just came out this
Well,
past Friday.
girl,
It is
I'm
coming
gonna check
from
that one
thank
out.
you, thank you. It's coming from that same vulnerable place. It is about, I think it's about being in love, but it's just in general about sort of being passionate about life in general and how sometimes you struggle to let yourself feel those, passionate, full emotions, and you kind of want
Mhm.
to downplay things. So that's what that song's about. So that's brand new, and then working on more music, hopefully more
I'm so
touring
excited.
next year. I want to see everybody again.
Yeah, you
I
do. Yeah,
miss
you do.
everyone. So yeah, I'm very excited for everything that's to come, and I just signed a publishing deal 2 weeks.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So
Oh,
lots on
wow.
the horizon.
So we'll be hearing more from you. So, publishing music publishing or book publishing? I should
Music
actually clarify
publishing.
that.
Yes.
Music
Sorry.
publishing. Yeah. Well, congrats.
Thank you so
That
much.
excellent. Well, I know what I'm gonna be doing this afternoon because as a mama, I lost track of the weekend. So, I'm gonna be listening to your new song
Well,
because damn, I'm
you'll have
excited.
to tell me what you think.
I know I love it already
Full
because
review.
we need to give those good feelings more airtime.
I
So,
I'm
I
all for
love it already.
it. It all
I love it
matters.
already. Well, Sophia, thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
chatting
much.
with us and just, like, open book. I appreciate that about you, and, yeah, we can't thank you enough. So, thank you for being a vocal nerd with us
Of course.
and talking about mindset and all this stuff, and we wish you every success on the planet.
Thank you so much, and to you. It was my pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much, girl. All right, I'm gonna pop you in the wings, I'm gonna do the official bye. You're free to go, or you can stick around, whatever you need to do.
Thank you
Okay?
so much. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, love. Okay. Oh, I say this every time, but wasn't she fabulous? Yeah, she was. And, like, there's way more to come from her. She's 19. So there's way, way, way more to come. And so please follow her and I will be my own producer here and make sure I hit the website. So there's her official website, folks, sophiafracassi.com. Please check her out, follow her on socials, all that good stuff. And while we're talking about that, um, here. Yeah, I'm not a good producer. It's fine. Facebook. We're on Facebook. I'm still trying to get on Instagram. Voxsana.co is where you'll find us. You can find us on our website, voxsana.co as well. And until next time, yeah, we've got much more coming up. Check our website and our YouTube channel for our latest videos. We always post them ahead of schedule so you can click the button and get notified, all that good stuff. Yeah, and until next time, here we go with the official song. And da, da, da. Oh man, epic fail. There it is. I found it. Okay. Hopefully this conversation was inspiring to you. It was to me. It makes me want to go and practice my straw foundational vocal training. I love that. If you haven't tried that, that's a big takeaway. But again, what I'm taking away from Sophia as well is that mindset thing is humongous. So if we're putting a takeaway at the end of this episode, I would say connection over perfection. what might even be the title of this video if you're watching it later on. I might even retitle it and with that because it's huge. As much as we think people want to see us perfect, they actually want to see us as being real. So until next time, stay real. Isn't that a nice way to end it? Yes. Okay. All right. And now I'm actually going to play the outro song. All right. Take care, everybody.